I don't need that kind of nonsense. Either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. It's as simple as that. If you're looking to be recruited, if you need to be convinced, then maybe this isn't the place for you. That's the message. That's the sales pitch. Pittsburgh is a franchise built on tradition, toughness, and an unwavering standard of excellence. If you want to be a part of it, then great. Step up and embrace the challenge. If not, good luck elsewhere. A slow clap is in order for Cam Heyward because finally, someone is speaking with a grit and attitude that defines the Steelers' identity. If it has to be him to say it, so be it. But that mindset, that standard, is exactly why a head coach like Mike Tomlin wouldn't be content sitting back and waiting for someone like Aaron Rodgers to decide if Pittsburgh is a second option. The Steelers should be approaching the situation the exact way Cam Heyward just laid it out. There's no need to plead, no need to sell what they are, because they already know. You know what this franchise stands for. You know what you're walking into. If that isn't enough to make your decision, then keep it moving. Go find a better situation, that better coach, that better franchise. If you believe it exists, good luck to you. But Pittsburgh is not desperate. Pittsburgh is not waiting around. And yet, for some reason, that's not how the organization is operating right now, which is utterly mind-blowing. Rodgers isn't coming to Pittsburgh. He's dancing around the idea, stalling for time, keeping options open, but the reality is he's not making that commitment. And frankly, it's fair to wonder if he even wants to be coached hard, if he even wants to be held accountable by teammates. Because stepping into that locker room means stepping into an environment built on leadership, discipline, and accountability. Cam Heyward is just the latest in a long line of Steelers defenders. Think James Harrison. Think Joey Porter, who have embodied that exact mentality. That's the kind of culture Rodgers would be walking into. Is he ready for that? Does he even want it? Or does he prefer the comfort control of a situation where he can set the terms? Because Pittsburgh isn't handing out special treatment. Rodgers has always commanded respect. His presence alone dictates that. But in Pittsburgh, he wouldn't be the only one. There's TJ Watt, one of the most dominant edge rushers of his generation. There's Cam Heyward, the veteran leader of a proud defensive unit. These are players who don't just expect excellence. They demand it. Rodgers, throughout his career, has been the undisputed leader in any locker room he's walked into. In Green Bay, in New York, the dynamic was built around him. But in Pittsburgh, he wouldn't be the biggest voice in the room. And that raises the question, does he even want to be in that type of environment? That's why this doesn't feel like a fit. Think about it. If you're a player in that Steelers locker room, and you hear Aaron Rodgers talking about Pittsburgh like it's just another option, like it's a fallback plan, how's that sit with you? This is a franchise with 6 Lombardi trophies in the case, a legacy of winning, and a standard that doesn't bend for anyone. To hear Rodgers, a player with all the talent in the world, but also a history of unpredictability, hesitate about joining that, that's going to rub players the wrong way. And rightfully so. Yes, Rodgers has earned the right to take his time and consider his future. He's 41 years old, coming off a devastating injury, and has every reason to be deliberate about his next step. But let's not pretend there isn't baggage here. The way things ended in Green Bay, the drama, the uncertainty, the drawn-out decision-making process. There's a pattern. There's volatility. He embraces it, calls himself an enigma, but teams, locker rooms, front offices, they don't always thrive in that kind of uncertainty. And right now, teams like Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and the Giants, they're stuck in a holding pattern, waiting for one man to make up his mind. And that, ultimately, is where the frustration stems from. Are Steelers players already tired of the situation? Absolutely. Because Rodgers, whether he intends to or not, is putting them at a competitive disadvantage. The rest of the league is moving forward. Teams know their quarterback situations, or, at the very least, have a clear plan in place. The Steelers? They're waiting. And that's not a position this franchise is used to being in. Cam Heyward's frustration is justified because progress isn't being made. And even though no games are being played right now, even though the offseason program hasn't started, there's a very real sense that Pittsburgh is already behind when it comes to roster building and preparation for the season ahead. Look at how true franchise quarterbacks operate. Look at the video from just the other day. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins stepping off a plane in Cincinnati, walking into the locker room, and being greeted by Joe Burrow with a massive embrace. That's leadership. That's presence. Meanwhile, in Pittsburgh, newly acquired DK Metcalf walks into his new locker room. And who's there to greet him? Mike Tomlin. That's not a bad thing, but it speaks volumes. Where's the quarterback? Where's the guy who's supposed to lead this team? He's not there. He's not throwing. He's not even making a statement. That's why uncertainty is poison in the NFL. Quarterback is a leadership position by default. Pittsburgh doesn't have one right now. And instead of making moves to solidify that position, they're waiting on someone who doesn't seem in a hurry to make a decision. And Steelers players? They're sick of it. This isn't about Rodgers' right to take his time. He absolutely has that right. But the longer this drags on, the more it disrupts the team's ability to plan, to build, to move forward. And for those who think this is just media noise, just frustration from a few guys in the locker room, take a step back. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers, a franchise built on continuity, leadership, and unshakable identity. They don't play second fiddle. They don't wait around for anyone. And yet, here they are doing exactly that. That's the real issue. Because whether Rodgers ultimately decides to come to Pittsburgh or not, the fact that they're letting him dictate the pace is a problem in itself. That's not Steelers football. That's not how this franchise operates. And that's exactly why guys like Cam Heyward are stepping up and saying what needs to be said.